and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're new here, hello, come in, welcome. My name's Eliza and I make content every Tuesday and Thursday at 5 p.m. all about disability awareness, LGBTQ+ positivity and lifestyle things. So come in, welcome, and today I'm going to be reacting to, reviewing, whatever you want to call it, some ableist memes. I am a disabled person and I've experienced a lot of ableism and there's quite a lot of ableist memes. So yeah, and as always, this video is going to be discussing ableism, so if that is something that you don't feel comfortable watching, please click off now. And if you're interested, let's react to some memes. Let's go! So, in the past I have had a look at ableist TikToks and things like that, but I haven't looked into the world of memes yet, so let's see what this world can offer me. So, ableist Larry learns a lesson. So this is what Larry was saying at the beginning, whole body listening. Larry wants to remind you to listen with your entire body. He wants you to look with your eyes, use your ears, both ready to hear, mouth quiet, no talking or humming, using your hands on the side, not talking like this, but hands by your side, feet quiet on the floor, body faces to the speaker, brain thinking about what's being heard, and heart is caring about what the other person is saying. And that is pretty ableist, to be honest, Larry, and this is what this person has said. So then they've taught Larry a lesson. So what is the problem with whole body listening? Eye contact can be really difficult for some people. Ears kind of do their job on their own, and not everybody is able to hear, so suggesting that you're not listening if you're unable to hear and you communicate in a different way is also ableist. Sometimes verbal stims are important and can help listening. Flappy hands are happy hands, that can also aid listening and learning. You can also move your feet around, which also aids listening and learning. Your body is yours and you can move it however you need to. Your brain is always thinking when, you might not understand something, for example. So always question if you don't understand, and the brain is amazing and your heart is caring about others and you deserve the same in return as well. So if you are able to listen and listening in a different way to the normal standard way of listening, the other person should respect how you are listening, and that is very true. And also hands can also be used as a really good communication tool for many people. Sign language is a great tool, so yeah, hopefully ableist Larry has learned something and is going to be a bit less ableist in the future. Moving on to the next one. Ableism is treating people with health conditions as less than. Ableism is having a relationship with a person's health condition and not the person. Ableism is acknowledging a person only when their health condition is isn't flaring and seems to be cured. So this is really true. I think often we see ableism as just discriminate, like direct discrimination against somebody, but ableism can also be quite subtle. Things like treating people with health conditions as less than. This can include things like saying it only kills the vulnerable, things like that, or like also seeing disabled people as like people that are over there and not part of your own life. Actually, only 17% of the disabled population were born with their disabilities. The rest actually developed them, or something happened as they grew up and became older. So it's not really a good thing to be like, oh, it's just over there, people that will never affect me, because you also never know what might happen in your life. Ableism is having a relationship with the person with health condition, not the person. Sometimes this can happen to me where people will just see they came first and then will refuse to kind of have a conversation with me about anything else, and that makes me kind of uncomfortable. And also ableism is acknowledging only when the person with their health condition isn't flaring and seems cured. I've had quite a few friends that are like this, where they've only wanted to see me when I'm feeling well, because it can feel uncomfortable when I'm unwell, and I do get it. It can be uncomfortable to see somebody looking unwell, but it's also quite difficult to deal with when you want to see your friends and stuff like that, but you're not feeling well. Most of these people I don't speak to anymore, and my friends are really, like my current friends are really good and supportive, but yeah, that can definitely be difficult when disability isn't like this pretty little package that people want to see, and it can make people feel a bit uncomfortable. Pods come up to say hello, the apparently annual visit from the dog. Right, moving on to the next one. Some disabilities look like this, some look like this. I have spoken about this in the past. In fact, I did a whole video on it and why calling Trump supporters disabled is offensive and ableist, and they're not disabled because they support Trump. If you are using disability as a negative to something that you dislike, so you're saying that Trump supporters are disabled, for example, if you're using disability as a negative, that is ableist and not okay. To suggest that Trump supporters are disabled because they support Trump is also just a way to, I guess, justify their opinions and the fact that they like Trump. And again, it's saying that disability is negative because it's essentially saying that disabled people are unable to make an educated choice on who to support, and that's what makes you disabled. So no, using and saying that Trump supporters are disabled is just ableist, and it often comes from the left, which is pretty disappointing to see, because obviously like it's supposed to be a more like woke group of people, but then ableism is just used so freely in groups like this. Obviously not everybody uses it, but I've seen it quite often and it does make me feel quite uncomfortable. So yes, this meme is ableist, stop sharing it. This is basically what you're doing. I didn't actually know this, because I don't really watch SpongeBob, but that's very interesting that this particular SpongeBob is mocking disabled people, and there is Trump below there who also has openly mocked disabled people in this way. It's disgusting and wrong, and yeah, it's just not okay. So it's really interesting that this is just a cartoon version, and yeah, even in a cartoon version it can be offensive to many people. As always, I'm just one disabled person. I do not speak for the whole community, so you can always put your views and thoughts about these memes below. I am not all disabled people, I'm just speaking for myself. But yeah, essentially if this is a picture of SpongeBob mocking a disabled person, to me that would be ableist. It doesn't really matter if it's a cartoon or a person doing it, it's still ableist to me. So yeah, I definitely learned something there. Moving on to the next thing. 10 things that require zero talent to learn. Being on time, work effort, body language, energy, attitude, passion, being coachable, doing extra, being prepared. Yeah, that's just offensive, to be honest. As somebody who really struggles with being on time because I'm dyslexic, and putting effort in for me is so much work, and work ethic can be really difficult for me because I become unwell. Energy is not something that comes freely to me. Attitude, I really can struggle sometimes to kind of keep like a positive attitude. When I get really overwhelmed, I can become very grumpy and snappy, and it's not really something that I can necessarily help as such. It's more that I need to communicate in that moment that the reason that I feel like this is because I'm getting overwhelmed by the situation, or I'm really hungry and things like that. Often when my blood sugar is low, I can get extremely snappy, and it's not really necessarily aimed at anyone. I just suddenly feel really angry in a way, and then begin to feel really anxious as well. Passion, being coachable, doing extra takes a lot of energy, and that's something that a lot of disabled people are unable to do because energy is scarce. Being prepared, again, as a dyspraxic, I'm pretty much never prepared. Most of my videos that I film on the day, and then they're edited on the day, and then uploaded on the day. Don't tell anyone. But yeah, it's definitely not something that requires zero talent, and to suggest that somebody that cannot do these things has zero talent is also ableist and not okay. All right, moving on to the next bit. Admit it. Blaming people with disabilities for global warming is easier than taking responsibility for your own carbon footprint. Yes, this is so true. Oh my goodness, the amount of time that I've seen disabled people be blamed because they need straws. Obviously not all disabled people, but some disabled people need single-use plastic straws. If you are interested about why that is, I have made a video on it in the past. Jessica Calvary and Bozad has made a video on it in the past. I will leave it linked down below. But some disabled people need to use single-use plastic straws, and to blame disabled people for needing to use that, or also needing to use single-use plastic for medication and things like that, you are essentially just putting blame on a vulnerable group of people instead of governments and the world in general and capitalism, and you're just blaming a minority for your own carbon footprint and ignoring your own issue. So not okay. I also see this with disabled people who are unable to go vegan, and then people are like, oh well, you're ruining the world, blah blah blah. It's like, no, they aren't able to go vegan because vegan isn't accessible for everyone. That's okay. I've honestly seen it so much. It's just ableism coming from people who think that they're being woke. If 2020 was a person, why? I just, honestly, so many jokes are just like, disabled people are the butt of so many jokes, and it's so tiring. Like, no, this is not what 2020 would be like. If 2020 was a person, well, I don't even know what it would look like. It's just like somebody evil, literally. Like, that we can't put 2020 into a person because it's literally not fathomable, and to use disabled people as a negative here and make fun of disabled people is just offensive. And disabled people, many of them are lovely, kind, caring people, and to literally just make fun of somebody's looks or disability as a joke is not okay. And there is nobody in the disabled community that I would compare 2022, because I would never, ever, ever suggest that somebody in this community, or really anybody ever that is existing, could be equal to 2020, because that's how rubbish and horrible it was. So yeah, no, big no, please don't use disabled people as a joke. It's not okay. Moving on to the next one. Not all disabilities look like this. Some of them look like this. I heart anime. Oh God, again, just using disability as a negative here because of something that you dislike. It's not okay, it's not cool, it's not fun, it's not funny, it's just using disability as a negative, which actually I've spoken about in the past, but that's partly why I have like disabled in my name. I get quite a lot of hate for having disabled in my name. People say that I'm just looking for pity or whatever, when the reality is actually I've never received pity for being disabled. I've literally only ever received hate, and I'm trying to get rid of that idea that disability is a negative thing, a negative word, something that can be used as a joke, and actually normalize the word. And I have spoken about that in the past, and this is kind of exactly why, because disability is used so often as a negative, and that's why I struggled so hard to come to terms with my disability and being a disabled person. But it's literally posts like this that are the reason. And here's another one, look, there's Trump saying that Trump is disabled. Trump is not disabled because of his views. Trump might have a disability just as anybody ever might have a disability that we don't know about, but it's not because of his actions or his policies that he is disabled. He is a horrible, nasty person. Please stop using disability, one, to equate to that, and two, stop also justifying what he's done as a disability. But it's taking away his responsibility for the actions that he has done, and it's not okay. Final one, the only disability in life is a bad attitude. I hear this all the time. Let's not normalise being disabled, let's normalise getting better from disabilities. I hear that all the time. It's just offensive. There are days where I can't do things and it's not me having a bad attitude, it's to do with the fact that I'm disabled. And it's essentially just saying that disabled people are just, I don't know, making a fuss for being disabled, and it takes away from the actual true issues with accessibility and the true struggles that disabled people face on a daily basis. And it's not okay. It's not okay to say that. So yeah, no. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you did like it, give it a big thumbs up down below, and of course let me know which meme was your favourite, or if you know any other memes, or if you have any topics that you want me to cover in future videos. If you want to keep up to date with me outside of social media, please follow me at Disabled Eliza across all social medias. It's free and you get to see more of me and take part in polls and things like that. Look after all of you, stay safe, wash those hands, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!